welcome back to my channel, or welcome if it's your first time here. I'm Lindsay, and yes, I've changed my setup a bit because even though the green chair in front of my bookshelves was cute, it made it hard to actually get to my bookshelves, so after a while I just decided I needed to move it. So now I sit on the floor, and this is a little bit of a new background. So as you can see from the title of this video, it's about the books I read in January. I didn't read a ton of books in comparison to other creators. I only read 3 books this month, and I only have, or this past month, and I only have 2 of them with me because one of them I borrowed from a friend. So let me just get into it. So the first 2 books were from the Red Queen series, Red Queen and Glass Sword. So I had heard about this series a while ago, and I actually got these books a while ago, but I was very busy last year, so I just now got around to reading them. And I have liked them so far. I will say right off the bat that the writing is not perfect. There are still some questions I have about the world that I'm hoping will be answered in the last 2 books, which, you know, when you have a series like this, I don't expect everything to be dumped on me in the first book. I don't want it to be like that. However, the pacing was pretty back and forth. In the first book, it was very back and forth. The second book, the first half dragged a lot, and I think that's probably why I like the first book a little bit more. Also, the twist at the end, I think, just really got me. On that note, I could often tell what was going to happen next, but I wasn't that mad about it because there were some things that still surprised me, but the twists were well done, even though there was foreshadowing and stuff that I just was able to tell that this meant this was going to happen. They still had established ideas and then made it a twist. So there was no, like, it wasn't a reveal where I had no idea what was happening. It was like, you think this, but this is actually real. And there was one that I knew was gonna happen. I started to get hope that it wasn't. I was like, well, maybe not. Maybe I just was overanalyzing things and this is not gonna happen. And then it did, and I was upset. But it's fine. It's not that it wasn't well done. It was well written. I really like that part of it. It just, I didn't want it to happen, so, but yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I'll get over it. Hopefully things will fix it in future books. Anyway, I do have some criticisms about the writing and the characterization in the story, but I'm going to keep them to myself because I really did like it for the most part. It's just little nitpicky things. I really liked the characters in these books. Cal I liked a lot better in the second book. I'm going to do, when I finish the last 2, I'm going to do more of a review, but in my hopefully February reading wrap-up video. But as of right now, I do really like it, and I think the politics were really well thought out. It has this eat the rich mentality, fight against oppression. It's an interesting system where it talks a lot about like classism and capitalism, because there's a rich ruling class and a working class, and I just almost gave a spoiler, so I had to cut that part out. But it also kind of reminded me of The Boys, where there is this superhero ruling class that has like a superiority complex. So one more thing I wanted to say about the Red Queen series, I found it very interesting, and I really haven't seen anyone talk about this, so that's kind of why I wanted to bring it up. I've maybe seen one post about this. This series came out, I don't know, at least a few years ago, and the main character, Mare, she has dark hair that's turning gray at the bottom, like a silvery gray, and she has she can control electricity and wield lightning, and they call her Little Lightning Girl. And there's a war going on, so there's conscription and all that, and there is also a twist in the last chapter. This is not the one that got me, but the twist that got me happened a little bit earlier than that. No one asked, but just in case you've read it and you're wondering which twist got me, it was not that one. But there is a twist, and because I'm keeping this spoiler free, I'm not going to say what exactly it is. But in the very last chapter, it is the same exact twist that happens in the very last chapter of Fourth Wing. And I don't want to like accuse anyone of copying anyone. I just thought it was very interesting that no one's really as far as I've seen, I haven't seen a lot of people really talking about that and making that connection. So if you have also noticed that, let me know. So the final book I read this month was American Gods by Neil Gaiman. I will say right off the bat that it has outdated language and the use of slurs. It came out in the early 2000s, that's not an excuse, but it has that language. And it is also definitely rated R for many reasons. But I will say it's very interesting. I'd even venture to say enthralling. It has this fantasy world with gods in America. And it has a lot of commentary on the American prison system, but also just kind of like America in general, which I feel like with Neil Gaiman, you're going to get very specific commentary in his fantasy books. Like, yes, this is a fantasy world about American gods, but I think with all of his books you have very specific commentary, whereas in the Red Queen series so far it's been like more broad. But if you've read Neil Gaiman books, you know that his commentary is usually a little bit more specific, and that leads me to my next point, is that this definitely has Neil's voice. It wasn't like very predictable in the sense that, oh, I know this is written by Neil Gaiman, so this is gonna happen next. It was more just, this is Neil Gaiman's voice. I've read a few of his books, so I think I just know his voice at this point. And it also has a lot of things that let you like make it obvious that it was written by a straight man. There's the male gaze. It wasn't super offensive or anything, and I read it as tongue-in-cheek because the main character, Shadow, he was a bit uncomfortable with all of it, so that's just how it read to me. I did like it though, even though it did make me a bit uncomfortable at times. I did, for the most part, really enjoy it, and I think, you know, I'm just the type of person where I don't have to completely agree with everything being said in a book, but that's just me. So those are the 3 books I read this past month. I know I'm not giving the lengthiest reviews, giving the most details, because I wanted them to be spoiler-free reviews. In my monthly reading wrap-ups, I'm going to try to do mostly spoiler-free reviews. So if you want more, I will definitely at times do full-on series reviews with spoilers. I've already done some, so like and subscribe for that. If you can tell, I mostly read fantasy. And oh, I forgot to mention, there's romance in here. I meant to say that. I did write that down. There is romance in the Red Queen, but that's something I want to say. If you're someone who's looking for something like Sarah J. Maas books, it's not gonna be like that. It's more, there's definitely more focus on the world. It's part of the plot, but it's not the main focus. So, I mean, the main character so far has had some I'm not like other girl moments that weren't my favorite, and I think it wasn't meant to come off like that. It was meant to just be like, I have other priorities, but it was worded in kind of a mean way to other girls, and I don't like that. So, and if you like fantasy, and if you like fantasy romance, and if you want to hear me talk more about books, like and subscribe. I make a long video every Saturday, and I do at least a couple shorts throughout the week. I've been a little busy, so I haven't been able to do a ton of shorts. I've been enjoying making the long form videos more anyway, so I hope you guys also enjoy the long form videos, and I will see you soon. Bye!